talked a lot about technology already this morning a little bit, so I think it's about time that we dive a little bit into it. But we're talking about aging, and sometimes maybe some of these people think, well, aging, I'm not concerned because I'm young. Actually, aging is something which concerns us all. It happens at birth and stops at death. It's a cycle. And there's something interesting when you put that together as a home. Well, we are in changing times, but we're actually also back in time. It's going home again. You know? As we grow older, aging at home, and ideally until the very end, becomes our life's focus. Just like when we were born, because as babies, we spend a lot of time in that place as well. Home is so much more than bricks and mortar, so much more than security and shelter. It's about us. It's our freedom, it's our individuality, especially it's our dignity. Now, the first free generation in Europe, born after the war, and by the way, which is the largest part of the population, is coming home. This freedom-loving generation is revolutionizing the way we will live our last phase of life over the coming decades. Active and healthy aging as long as possible, assisted where needed when becoming fragile, and eventually cared for when it's time to go. And of course, all of this at home. Just like it used to be for the grandparents of that generation, back in time, yet very differently. The desires and evolving expectations are putting huge pressures, as we heard, on our current housing, as well as healthcare sector, which are often not fit for purpose anymore, let's face it. Outdated structures need to adjust to new realities. It's high noon to move beyond health and housing system, which is based on silos, competition, and price as the ultimate value. I mean, this is about life, and I would say life is priceless. So the system has also depleted our available human, I can do that, that comes, right? My chairman has to say something, of course. The system has also depleted more and more, our human and natural resources rather than optimize them. So new times with new needs require a change of mindset. We all know this, yet do we act on it? And if so, how and what, and ultimately for who? Many questions with still few systemic answers. Otherwise, we would not talk about it here and try to deal with it. So, this Senior Housing and Healthcare Summit brings together two sectors seem about as far away than the home from the hospital. Yet, it's the addition of the word senior which makes all the difference, requiring them to come and work together. And I like this quote from a good Jane Goodall, what you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. And I think that's the question we should ask ourselves here. So, senior housing as a healthcare association, I think has understood this need for cooperation and collaboration by becoming an early mover. We as Echocare are very happy, to be your latest member, to join you on this adventure, and as our mission is how to use technology for aging well. Is technology maybe that missing link between housing and healthcare? Both have seen radical changes over the last decade, also with the use of latest information technology on how you do better diagnostics, planning, execution, albeit for very different purposes. It requires us to take a deeper look into what is going on currently and when it comes to senior housing and technology. So let's actually talk about technology. And what we have tried to do is just to give you a brief overview of some things. You can find technology as wearables. You have different kinds which help you in terms of providing motion or fall detection, location detection, alarm button capabilities, and many more. This on a wristband, on a pendant, or jewelry, so that different ones can use it. There are also the non-wearables. There are many different kinds. I mean, you heard about the robots today. There are which can also have functions for alarming and for providing information. You have the smart devices and voice assistants who can tell you things. You have then the different sensors, infrared sensors, in detecting anomalies, the infrared, and the whole monitoring system, which provides alerts for emergencies, but also which can learn a person's routine in detecting possible decline. So what we have tried to do here is to plot the different parts of the senior housing. You've heard many parts of it. We heard about the aging in place, so where people live at home and where technology can be of support. The wellness-focused communities, where you actually provide different services to the community for social activities, dining opportunities and the like. Well, we just heard about the co-living, the intergenerational living, also going back in time when we were students. We loved that one. And the senior housing, which is taking already into account maybe some fragilities, but still you can stay at home. And what we did is just, you can plot those different technologies around there, from the wearables to the alarm button to the robots, back to eventually home tracking and home monitoring system. There's a link between the two. All is emerging. You can't say, okay, this one is for this particular. It's a combination of things. It's complex. You have to, find the right part of it. But it gives you a little bit of an overview, on how technology is starting to play in here. The purpose always is of enabling people to live as long as possible in a home environment. And technology is there, yes, for emergencies, but also more and more for preventive care. Because if we stay as we are, the numbers are going to get higher and higher. We can't deal with it, but we need to shift, from acute care to preventive care. That certain things just don't happen, or happen much, much later. And while at the same time, of course, when it comes to technology, respect data, privacy, and security. When reflecting on those trends, which concern actually the lives of millions of people, including ourselves in one way or the other, it's clear that they go far beyond a sectoral or a simple market issue. It's about a whole societal system requiring deep transformation. We are all in it, so we're all called to do our part. And that surely requires sometimes some courage, to break out of our current system and collaborate with others across sectors, share the economic benefits and risks. We heard about this morning, well, de-risking means, okay, there's an imbalance, we need to create a balance, but not just for the risks, it's also for the benefits. There's too much of us saying, we don't want to, privatize the benefits and socialize the losses. There is a balance to be stricken here, because it's not a simple economic topic here. It's also about, we want to strike a balance to achieve the social impact and for all, not just for a few lucky ones. So let me tell you now a little bit the story of Echocare technologies to illustrate our perspective and approach. You hardly ever come to care by accident. It's actually through your own experience and often a deep inner calling. And that's exactly what happened here as well to the founders of Echocare Technologies, whose time had come to take care of their parents becoming fragile. Questions were like, how can I ensure that my mother can live safely at home? How will she get care when needed, rather than having to move her to a nursery home, which she actually is resisting? How can you live at home alone when your family members are away or simply at work all day? And how can I ensure that she lives in safety? Many questions again with little answers most of the time, or actually a burden on our families, on our informal carers. Those we never talk about, but do the bulk of the work, not the professional carers. And this is also because the large majority of us, we do not live in 3 generational houses anymore. Only 25% of children live close with their parents nowadays. The fathers are far away. So this is not a concept anymore. So the CEO of Echocare, Mr. Ravi Zak, and his chairman, who is here, Davide Gillo, embarked on this journey, bringing in their vast experience from the engineering and telecoms industry. Echocare, you can see the device, is a radar-based remote home monitoring system which can provide vital data to the families and professional caregivers of an older person living home alone in particular. The system allows to capture continuous information on location, on posture, are you up, are you lying down, on motion, are you moving, while measuring also its heartbeat and respiration rate where possible. In order to avoid accidents at home, these technologies like Echocare can provide senior housing with respective support for fall prevention, but much more than that. The home is a challenging environment, let's face it, where older adults like to keep free of wearing any devices. So Echocare's non-intrusive, non-wearable monitoring system, it doesn't use cameras, it's fixed on the ceiling, provides regular info on potential anomalies, as well as emergency information to the relevant people connected to the system. It can cover a surface of 40 square meters, and it learns a person's behavior, in particular, the activities you're doing today, how much alone time do you have in there, because we mentioned loneliness, the quality of the sleep, or calculate any kind of risks. And this, of course, to alert when there's a deviation. Now, we talked about the title as emerging technologies for senior housing and healthcare ecosystem. We heard our population is aging, so this necessitates more care. Then we also heard the required professional caregivers are steadily decreasing. A paradigm shift is required towards supporting communities, including our informal carers, as an essential part of this evolving care ecosystem. An open information system, such as ProvideVec, links together the whole value chain for assisting an older person to live independently at home and can provide a whole new possibilities for connecting senior housing with healthcare. It is part of the puzzle to provide the technical efficiency in moving back to living at home in changing times. Like I said, multi-generational families under one roof are the exception to the rule nowadays. And many seniors actually live alone. Affordable, accessible housing is as far away as ever for many people. So, yet for the technology to function at home, it needs to be embedded into an ecosystem, which I tried to show here, of people and organizations who collaborate together, where we have to find a common language. Already here you're discovering, real estate has a very different language from healthcare. Imagine you're bringing in now social services from the municipality. You've heard somebody from the disabled people, from the social activists. You're talking about insurance language. So all of these need to collaborate together because one provides a service, other one is a user, other one finances it. And we have to get out of those silos. So the technology for that is there. The science is there. Yet the system needs to be transformed. This requires partnerships. We heard about public-private partnerships and not pilots. I think everybody is tired of pilots. It requires an overhaul of our current social infrastructure in Europe, not subsidy programs. And above all, it requires collaboration. So acting together for us all and with us all. As Echocare, we look forward to exchanging with you about partnerships to deal with this societal shift together and how technology can support it. That's my part of it. Thank you very much for listening.